I will go ahead and get started with Coach Miller. Jason Barr, you're up first. And reminder others, just use the raise hand function if you can, please, if you have a question. Jason, go ahead.
Good afternoon, Sean. Are you doing anything differently with your offense this year that's enabled three different players to score 30 points in a game, like maybe letting somebody who's taught shine? Or is there anything different, or is it just kind of worked out that way with the great individual games by some players?
Yeah, I mean, Jason, that's a great question. It really is. I've been a head coach for 17 years. Don't remember a season, and statistically, you guys may know even better than me, where so many individuals have had like big nights scoring. And in particular, what makes that even more unique with this year's team is, two of those players are freshmen. Ben and Julius. So. We really aren't doing a whole lot different. I do think that our offense is improving. I think the guys generally play well together, and maybe if you say playing well together, you think about a lot of different people contributing, and quite frankly, we've had that too. We have good balance. If you look at our stat sheet, we have 4 or 5 different players in double figures, but I really don't have an explanation. I'm glad that it's happened. I hope it continues to happen. But to have 3 players through this many games that we've played this year all score 30 points or more, 2 of them being freshmen, it's certainly unique. And it's really fun to watch as well. It's great to see guys playing with that type of confidence.
Remy Martin is an absolute handful. While you probably can't give away the strategy, do you see this as him versus James Akinjo one-on-one a lot, or might you do with some different kind of matchups? What makes Remy Martin so tough, and how do you go about stopping him Thursday and Monday?
Well, I've always had a lot of respect for Remy as a player, dating back to when he was ASU's 6th man. That year, his freshman year, he came in off the bench, and when he would enter the game, it was like a volt of electricity, that entered the game, because he impacts the game in so many ways. He shoots the ball. He obviously is great driving and scoring. He gets fouled a lot. And then defensively, he just makes energetic big plays, not just steals, deflections, but sometimes it's just his overall pressure. And it's contagious. He inspires the other 4 players to join him. And that's when I think ASU as a team has been at their best recently. And this year's no different. And that's when their defense creates offense, steals, and pressure dictates transition opportunities for their team. And then you get those types of guards in transition, Remy being one of them. That's when they're at their best. But, I know Remy was a first-team All-American, deservedly so. And based on, COVID and the uniqueness of ASU's season, I'm sure that he's ready to really take off and finish his season the next couple months in a really good way. But we have a lot of respect for him. The other part of your question, it's not James versus him. However, we need our guards to play well. James has to play well. Terrell, Ben, Dalen, we need our guards to play well. But no, Remy Martin is an exceptional player. I not only think he's one of the best players in the Pac-12, but I think he's one of the best guards in college basketball. He's earned that title through his career, and he's been around. Similar to Peyton Pritchard a year ago, you feel like you've played against him quite a few times, and we have.
Thank you.
Justin Spears, you're up.
Coach, and now that you've been a part of this rivalry now for so many years, I'm wondering, where does Remy kind of rank among players who have given you the most problems?
Well, I think it stands, the best way for me to answer that question, Justin, is, I think in ASU's program, I think they really look at him as, one of the best guards that have ever played as part of ASU's basketball program. I would think just that's how they feel. And that's how I feel. The other part of being respected as a college basketball coach, player, team is, do you win? And, you know, Remy Martin has been a part of NCAA tournament teams at ASU. So it's not that he's just a good individual player. I think he's a fearless leader. He's got great confidence in himself. I admire that he plays so hard on defense, and he changes the game sometimes with his defense, not just his offense, that you have to hold him in high regard. Our team does. I do, and our coaching staff does.
And I know you want to get as many games in as possible, but how beneficial was it for your team to take Saturday off and maybe not play that game on Monday?
Yeah, that's a question that, this year I think can work either way. There are times when, you feel like your team is starving for games. And, we've dealt with this in November and December. You can have some really good practices and hard practices. And I think I've gone on the record a number of different times this year describing our basketball team this year at Arizona as consistent of a group, practicing, doing what you want them to do, really giving their all, as we've had here. I mean, they are just very, very consistent. But sometimes our improvement didn't show up because the second part of that is you have to play games. You have to learn, you have to get experience. Sometimes you have to fail. Clearly, playing well and winning and being successful, that gives you guys and a team a lot of confidence as well. So, rest, being healthy at this time of year, I think enters the equation maybe for the first time, but, we still want to play games. I hope that this week is coming at a good time for us because, we haven't played a lot of games here over the last 2 weeks. And, my hope is that leads us to having a good next week or two, because as you guys know, we're about ready to really enter a kind of the gauntlet of the Pac-12 season, in that we play Thursday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday, Tuesday, Thursday to infinity, So let's hope we're healthy, and now we'll be on the other side of less practices and more games. So I think I'm all over the place with this answer, but giving you how I really feel, I think it's just it's really in flux. It's a combination of games and practices, which you hope allows your group to be the best that they can be.
Thank you.
Jay Gonzalez, go ahead.
Sean, you were pretty unhappy with your defense after the UCLA and ASU games. Were there adjustments, or was it just a change in effort over at Oregon State? What was different?
Well, I wish we were a better defensive team. I really do. Our defense isn't where we want it to be. It really hurt us in our LA homestand. And it goes without saying that you have to give credit to the team that you play against. USC and UCLA have firepower. They're different from each other, but both are very good teams. I mean, they're going to be a part of postseason. I think a number of players on both of their teams will leave UCLA and USC and become a part of the NBA. So, look, having said that, sometimes you could play great defense, give it your best, be in the right position, and it doesn't work. But we didn't have a good, it didn't just start that week. It started to deteriorate before that week, but we just lost our ability to guard the dribble, to be in help, to just make every possession and play with great effort. In the UCLA game, I mean, we gave up 3 or 4 second shots late in the game when we were playing zone, that any one of those stops give you a chance to win, tie the game, go up. We couldn't get the big rebound. So when you go through that, all you can do is just try to fix it, repair it, maybe make some decisions on what we're doing in practice, changes maybe in our lineup, et cetera, that can help our defense improve. So I don't have an answer whether it's better or not. I think the Oregon State game, we might have been in better overall position. We'll know a lot more over the next 2 weeks, though. But our defense has to improve. It's not good enough, and we can do better.
Thank you.
Jordan Spurgeon, go ahead.
Coach, the players are ingrained in this rivalry with ASU, and players on both sides know. How do you think the lack of fans this year is going to affect the energy in these two matchups?
I think that it'll affect the energy in these games the same as it's affected every game. It's just basketball is it's part of what you love about it is just the advantage disadvantage between playing away and home. And although there still is an advantage, I believe just through comfort, the fans, it's not the same. It just isn't. And I think every coach feels that way. Having said that, we're in charge of our own energy, our own preparedness, and we have to be ready to play the game under these current circumstances. Our team this year, we've actually played very well on the road. I look at the Stanford game, we had the rally to be in that game, had a chance to win it. Washington State, Oregon State. We've played some good basketball, and hopefully our focus and our level of play will be there tomorrow night against ASU.
Rich Herrera, go ahead.
Sorry, there you go. Had to unmute. Hi, Coach. Good afternoon. Can we talk a little bit about Jordan Brown and how he responded Oregon State game and how he's been at practice since lineup changes?
Yeah, every player loves to start. I know that. They know that. It's just there's something about being announced as a starter before the game. It's big for every player. But Jordan didn't get demoted. Like I had mentioned in the last press conference that we've had, when Jamal Baker went down with his injury, it's not just losing him. It affects a lot of different moving parts. So we tried to put the 5 players at the beginning of the game out there as starters that complement each other and maybe give us the best opportunity. So with that, Jordan has the ability to score. And I think bringing him off the bench, allowing him maybe to take a deep breath and watch the first segment of the game unfold, enter the game and give us a scoring punch off the bench, similar to what Ben Mathurin did when he wasn't starting, is I believe healthy for our team, and it balances out defense, offense, and Jordan's role in terms of minutes played. Not only is it not going to decrease, it will be the same or even more. But he played an outstanding game against Oregon State. That was lost in the shuffle because Ben Mathurin had such a big night scoring that you almost forgot Jordan Brown had 25 points in the same game. So we believe in Jordan. He's a young player that's growing and getting better. And my hope in the next 6 to 8 weeks that he could play his best basketball of the season.
Go back to Ben for just a moment. Is there a tipping point, or was there a moment where you started to see him just skyrocket with his offense and really kind of grow into that player that people are now talking about?
No, you really saw it incrementally from the first day of school when we all checked in here in late August. Just each week, he's such a young player, he's such a young person that just as he gets more comfortable being here in Tucson, being a part of our university, being in a locker room and getting to know his teammates better and trusting the place that he's at, the staff that's in charge of his development, all of these things, learning his role. But having said that, Ben has not missed a single day, not a day, not a lift, not a conditioning segment, not a day of practice, not a single game, unless I'm missing one. I don't think he's missed. And when you just string those every days together and you're talented, you're going to get better. You're going to improve. You're going to be more comfortable. And to Ben's credit, he works hard at it every day. He doesn't complain. And I think he's really starting to hit his stride.
One last thing, Sean, if you don't mind. I just had Terrell Brown on the radio, and I asked him about the Arizona State football game. He said you guys were actually working out, so they didn't get a chance to watch the football game. But is there something special that you talk to your team about because of the rivalry and how much these games mean against the school up north?
Yeah, in every rivalry, there's the fine line of respect, of making sure that the game is in some ways the game. You have to be careful of sometimes trying to make too much of it, because at the end of the day, we played 20 Pac-12 games this year, not 2, and ASU happens to be 2 of the 20. So there's that side. And then, the other side is like, you got to be ready at the jump ball. You just do. You have to play your heart out. You have to play for the name that's on the front of your jersey. You have to understand that this game means a lot to our university, our fans, former players and teams. And that's just not on Arizona's side. That's also on ASU's side. But we also respect Arizona State. I respect Bobby Hurley a great deal. He's done a tremendous job coaching that team and running their program. And, we know we're playing against one of the top teams in our conference. And we just have to be ready. Just in a game like this, you can't fix it once the game begins. It's too late. Got to be ready at the tip, and you have to be the best that you can be. And whatever your strengths are, we have to bring those strengths to the game. And whatever our weaknesses are, we have to be better at those things. So that's our mindset. We have a lot of players that have never played in this game before. Just is what it is. This year for us, we have such a new group, but we're working hard to be ready.
Thank you so much, Coach.
Mhm.
Bruce Pasco, you're up.
Sean, when you specifically, I was curious what you did with the extra days off, or did you guys came back from Corvallis, Friday, and did you take Saturday? And I'm wondering, did you use any extra days to work specifically on your defense or anything, just that you had that extra time to really dig in on stuff you wanted to do with your guys?
I mean, we were off Friday and Saturday, and then we've strung together a number of practices leading towards tomorrow. But, for us, just, practice, we're trying to become better at everything. Obviously, defense is at the top of the charts, but, you have to be careful ignoring the other parts of the game. We want to be good on offense. We want to be good on defense, and also we want to be prepared for our opponent. So I think for us, practices have been kind of standard operating procedure. We're able to practice with a lot of effort, and I thought our guys so far have done a really, really good job. We haven't practiced yet today, but assuming that today goes well, I'm happy with the way our guys have prepared and have been. So I would say the same thing leading into our LA week. We had spirited practices. We prepare. It's the strength of this year's team, and that they're incredibly together and responsible, and they're trying to do what we ask of them. And doesn't always mean we're going to be successful, but it's a fun group to coach from that perspective, and that they're very, very responsible. And we've been that way since our last game.
How did the schedule thing work out where they moved that game to Monday with ASU? I think this Monday you were looking at playing a non-conference, and then it sounds like, did they come to you and say, hey, you need to play this game with ASU? Or how did that work out? Because I'm guessing you didn't play Monday because that would have been even more games on top of each other like you're talking about now. And, how did specifically the, moving the second game with ASU up, how did that come about?
Yeah, the Pac-12 office, they made the decision, and they told us when we were going to play.
Okay.
So I think both teams, both universities or, programs had to agree to some degree or some level. But, in the world that we're in, freeing up that last week of the season gives our conference more flexibility. There are a number of teams that have missed more games than we have. We're down 2 games, 1 conference game at Oregon and 1 non-conference game. But we have quite a few teams in our conference that have more than that to make up, and allowing some flexibility down the end here, could be really beneficial to those programs and to our conference as a whole. And if we can be a helpful partner towards making that happen, then we're going to do that as long as it's not at the expense of us. But we've already played 3 games in 1 week. We played Colorado on a makeup after Christmas. Our guys really didn't have a Christmas break, and then we followed that up by leaving to play at Washington and at Washington State. And we're about ready to do similar thing here: Thursday, Monday, Thursday, Saturday. So, but we're not the only team doing it. We're doing what we're supposed to, and we want to get as many games in as we can play as well.
Okay. And finally, just but can you update me on what's going on with Kerr? And you guys aren't practicing with him, or do you have any timetable when he can rejoin you for practice? And could he still be back, in time for him being eligible on the 6th, the way it looks now?
Yeah, I mean, Kerr suffered a broken nose and a concussion on top of it. Sometimes the concussion symptoms don't show up like exactly when the nose happens, the break happens. But he's not been able to practice since he broke his nose. And we don't have a timetable on when or if he's going to be able to return.
Okay. So it could even go into February then, who knows? Yeah. Was it, would you say concussion wise, remember last year when you had Stone and that concussion kind of developed over the next couple of days and turned out to be pretty bad. What is it comparable to that or maybe not as bad?
Yeah, I don't know. These days, you get hit in the head, you get a concussion. It's obviously very serious. We want to make sure that we are protecting our players in all that we do, but it's a lengthy return. It's kind of like a stress fracture. It's not 2 days, 5 days. It's weeks, sometimes more than a month.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
All right, that's all we have today. Thank you, Coach.
Mhm.